Well, hey there, everyone. My name's Chris, and welcome to Calvin First Christian Church, and thanks for spending part of your weekend with us. We've got a lot going on around the church, so I'm going to take a few minutes to tell you about some things coming up for you and your family, so check this out. Coming up on February 8th, we'll have our first Vacation Bible School meeting. If you've helped with VBS in the past, or if you ever thought about getting involved, this meeting's for you. Be sure to bring your summer calendar. We'll be selecting dates for this year's VBS. VBS is always a wonderful opportunity to serve, connect, and make a lasting impact. We'd love for you to join us. We can't wait to see you there. It's time for Bond Camp's Yeti Chili Chili Challenge. This year we're using as a fundraising opportunity for Bond Christian Service Camp. If we raise $500, I'll do the polar plunge. If we raise $750, I'll do it wearing a ridiculous costume. And if we raise $1,000, Zach Sarver will take the plunge with me. Thank you so much for supporting Bond Christian Service Camp. I wanted to start off by showing you a picture of my youth pastor. His name is Eric, and he's someone who really encouraged me and gave me opportunities to lead. Eric played a big role in who I am today. Eric wasn't famous, but he showed me what it looked like to care about people and point them towards Jesus. In a lot of ways, he did for me what the 4 friends in Mark chapter 2 did. We're going to be looking at 4 men that changed their friend's life forever. We don't know their names, we don't know their stories, but we know they brought their friend to Jesus. And because of that, we're still talking about it 2,000 years later. Take a look at Mark chapter 2 with me. A few days later, when Jesus again entered Capernaum, the people heard that he had come home. They gathered in such large numbers that there was no room left, not even outside the door, and he preached the word to them. Jesus enters Capernaum. Most scholars think this is where Peter, Andrew, James, and John were from, and that he was actually staying at Peter's house. Mark, who wrote the book, was an apprentice and traveling companion of Peter, and so Mark gives more details about this event than Matthew or Luke do. Jesus had been out in the Galilean countryside preaching and healing, and when he came home to Capernaum, word traveled fast. And soon, just about the whole town had gathered to hear what Jesus had to say. In Mark chapter 2, verse 3, it says, "Some men came, bringing to him a paralyzed man, carried by the 4 of them. Since they could not get him to Jesus because of the crowd, they made an opening in the roof above Jesus by digging through it, and then lowered the mat the man was laying on." Roofs in Israel are flat, easily accessible, and often used as outdoor living spaces. So it's not unheard of to be up on someone's roof, but digging through it, that was weird. When Luke tells the same story in his gospel, he says they lowered the man to Jesus' feet. So these guys were strong, motivated, smart, and obviously had pretty good aim since they were able to get it right at Jesus' feet. When Jesus saw their faith, he said to the paralyzed man, "Son, your sins are forgiven." I think this is my favorite line that Mark writes, when Jesus saw their faith. So Jesus tells the paralyzed man that his sins are forgiven, and immediately the crowd starts to cry foul. Some teachers of the law were sitting there, thinking to themselves, "Why does this fellow talk like that? He's blaspheming. Who can forgive sins but God alone?" The teachers of the law were sitting. It's standing room only. They can't get the paralyzed man to Jesus because it's so crowded, and yet they are sitting in front of Jesus. So these guys that are supposed to be teaching people how to follow God and love him with all their heart now have a front row to see Jesus actually heal. These men that thought so highly of themselves thought Jesus doesn't have the authority to forgive sins. Immediately Jesus knew in his spirit that this is what they were thinking in their hearts, and he said to them, "Why are you thinking these things? Which is easier, to say to this paralyzed man, 'Your sins are forgiven,' or to say, 'Get up, take your mat, and walk'? But I want you to know that the Son of Man has authority on earth to forgive sins." So when he said to the man, "I tell you, get up, take your mat, and go home," he got up, took his mat, and walked out in full view of all of them. This amazed everyone, and they praised God, saying, "We have never seen anything like this." So Jesus knew what they were thinking, and he proves to them and everyone else that he has the power to forgive sin. The paralyzed man got up and left. When all is said and done, there's 4 men standing on the roof, and I'd like to imagine they all had their jaws on the floor. These 4 men hadn't set out to change the world, they had set out to bring their friend to Jesus. I doubt the guys in the story thought their lives would be remembered in history. Again, they didn't set out to change the world, they set out to help their friend. I think Mark's account of this miracle resonates with us because we all know people who need healing, who need a miracle. I think we can all relate to the idea of doing whatever it takes to get that miracle. And these men stopped at nothing to bring their friend to Jesus. They carried him down the street, brought him up to a roof, and dug a hole and lowered him in. They must have looked like lunatics. But they didn't care because they wanted their friend to meet Jesus. And they were going to do whatever it took to get him there. They didn't make a big impact on the world, but they did something small to help their friend. So often we think we have to do something big in order to change the world. What if we changed that, and what if we thought smaller? What if instead of trying to fix everyone's problems, we introduced them to Jesus? Do you remember what the catalyst was for Jesus healing this man? Let's look back. When Jesus saw their faith, he said to the paralyzed man, "Son, your sins are forgiven." Jesus saw the faith that his friends had. They believed Jesus could do this, so they did whatever it took to get him there. Can you imagine how the story would have gone different if they would have gotten there, saw the crowds, and thought, there's nothing we can do? Jesus saw their faith. He saw how important it was for them to get there. Who do you need to bring to Jesus? This week, be thinking about who you can invite to church or who you can encourage to take a step towards Jesus. I read a study that said 80% of people who attend church regularly did so because they were invited first. So, who do you need to invite? We can't all do something big to change the world, but we can all do something small. Whose world could you change by introducing them to Jesus?